Most times it has to do with business, you know,
Right.
some inequity in the business relationship. That's usually what causes a breakup.
Chris Jasper's tragic last moments, finally revealed, and they paint a heartbreaking picture of a legend haunted by demons he never outran. For years, whispers about hidden drug use and skipped shows clung to him, no matter how hard he tried to keep his struggles out of the spotlight. In his last days fighting cancer, the old rumors came roaring back online. Even when he was on top with the Isley Brothers, money fights and nasty credit disputes were already pulling the group apart behind the scenes.
A record label, the record company, CBS was looking for, something else. And
Right.
Years later, shocking lawsuits over the band's name and royalties proved just how deep those fractures ran. His brilliance was matched by a lifetime of unresolved pain.
My brother Rudolph, he decided to go into his ministry. So basically, it's just me and Ernie now.
Though he died surrounded by loved ones, Jasper's story remains tangled in both brilliance and unresolved pain.
Stronger every day, education.
Chris Jasper, the famous keyboard player and songwriter for the Isley Brothers, passed away on February 23, 2025. He was 73 years old. His death came after a short fight with cancer. His family shared the sad news on social media. They asked everyone to respect their privacy while they grieve. They also called him a musical genius and said he was a big reason for the group's special sound. Jasper helped shape music that touched many people across different generations. His talent reached far beyond just one group or one time in history. People all over the world listened to the songs he helped create, and many still enjoy them today.
What's my name?
Chris was not just a band member. He was the brain behind many of the group's most loved songs. He was known for playing the keyboard and writing lyrics that had real feeling. Jasper joined the Isley Brothers during an important time when their music was changing. His skill in mixing soul, funk, and R&B gave the group a new and fresh sound. Because of his talent, the group found even more success. In 1992, Jasper was honored by being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, along with the rest of the band.
Also, I'd like to thank our parents, Mr. and Mrs. Isley and Mr. and Mrs. Jasper. They really created a good foundation for us when we were young.
Later, in 2014, he received a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. This award was given to him for all the great work he had done over many years in music. In 2022, he was also added to the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Many artists from different kinds of music, like Whitney Houston, Tupac Shakur, and Snoop Dogg, used samples of his work in their own songs. That shows how much his music reached people and stayed important even many years later. Even in his final years, Jasper never stopped making music. He loved creating and sharing songs. In 2023, he released a new album called It Started With a Kiss.
A really good thing had started and kissed just before we part.
This showed that even with health problems, he stayed true to his passion for music. He didn't just slow down or stop. He kept going. Jasper didn't make music just for fame. He made it from the heart, and that's why so many people felt close to him through his songs. His style was smooth, powerful, and full of feeling. He knew how to mix sounds that spoke to people, whether they were happy, sad, in love, or just trying to get through life. Chris is survived by his wife, Margie. They had been married for 42 years, showing a long and strong partnership. Together, they raised 3 sons, Michael, Nicholas, and Christopher. His family said they are deeply heartbroken but proud of the life he lived. They shared how much he loved his family and how seriously he took his role as a husband and father. They also reminded fans that his music will live on. He touched so many lives with his songs, and that gift will not be forgotten. His music will continue to play in homes, on radios, and in memories for years to come. Over the years, some people on Reddit and other online forums have shared rumors about Chris. In one Reddit thread from 2022, a few users claimed that Chris may have used heroin during a tough time in his career. They didn't say exactly when this was, but a few people guessed it might have happened in the early 2000s. They called that time a dark period for him. However, no one gave any real proof or facts to support these claims. It was just people talking and guessing. Even on that same Reddit thread, others said they didn't believe it. They thought it was just gossip and nothing more. Most people agreed that it was hearsay, which means stories passed around without any clear truth behind them. Some fans also noticed changes in Chris Jasper's physical appearance and started to wonder if he was drinking too much alcohol. In certain interviews, they said his face looked puffy or swollen. A few people thought his speech sounded slow or unclear, and his eyes looked glassy, like someone who wasn't fully awake. These changes led to more talk online. One thread in May 2022 said he had a boozy vibe, which means he looked like he might have been drinking. People said he seemed tired or like he wasn't really paying attention. But again, these were just opinions. Nobody showed any proof that he was drinking too much or had a problem. These thoughts came only from how he looked in some videos or pictures. There was no doctor or expert involved, just fans talking among themselves and guessing what might be wrong. Another rumor that came up was about how Chris started pulling away from the public. Some people said he wasn't doing as many interviews or shows like he used to. This happened mostly in the late 2010s. Some fans thought maybe he was having personal problems. They guessed that maybe drugs or alcohol were the reason he stopped being seen so much. They believed he became quiet and private because he didn't want people to see what he was going through. Still, there was no strong proof of this. No one close to Chris came forward to explain why he wasn't around as much. Again, it was just people on the internet trying to fill in the blanks and coming up with their own ideas. There were also rumors that Chris missed some studio sessions and shows during the mid-2010s. A few people said he was supposed to work on music but didn't show up. Some said he skipped smaller concerts or didn't perform when he was expected to. These stories didn't appear in the news or in any official reports. Only a few fans on message boards talked about it. They thought his missed events were signs that something personal was going on. Some guessed that drugs or alcohol might have been the reason, but no one had real details. It's important to remember that these are only rumors, and without real proof, we can't know the full truth. In the 1970s, Chris helped shape the sound of the Isley Brothers. He was different from the rest because he had classical music training. This means he studied music deeply and could play very well, especially the keyboard. When the group started making smoother, softer songs, Jasper's keyboard playing became the center of their sound. Songs like For the Love of You,
For the love of you, oh yes I
and Between the Sheets were big hits.
making love.
And Jasper helped create them. But even though he did most of the writing and composing, all 6 members of the group got credit as songwriters. At first, this was fine with him because they worked as a team and wanted to show unity. But later, he started to see a problem. If everyone shared credit, then everyone shared the money, even if one person did more of the work. Jasper began to feel this was unfair, especially when the group started to fall apart. By the early 1980s, the Isley Brothers were not getting along. In 1984, the older brothers, O'Kelly, Rudolph, and Ronald, had serious money problems. They were thinking about filing for bankruptcy. The older brothers thought this might help them get out of their contract with CBS Records. But Chris, along with Ernie and Marvin Isley, did not agree. They felt this was not the right thing to do. They wanted to stay with CBS and keep making music. This disagreement caused a big break in the group. The younger three, Chris, Ernie, and Marvin, left and started a new group called Isley, Jasper, Isley. They kept working with CBS and planned to release a new album. However, the older brothers were not happy. They tried to stop the album from coming out by taking legal action. They didn't want the younger group to use the Isley name or release music under CBS. After the older brothers filed for bankruptcy, more problems followed. Chris Jasper and Marvin Isley said they were owed money. They believed they didn't get all the royalty payments they deserved. They wanted the court to make sure they were paid what they were owed. But the bankruptcy trustee, the person in charge of handling the money and debts, said Jasper and Marvin also owed money. Since they were part of the group, they had to help pay the group's debts. This led to a long battle in court. Finally, in 1991, they made a deal. Chris Jasper got $175,000, but he had to give up all claims, meaning he promised not to ask for any more money from the group or the group's music companies in the future. Even though Chris played a major role in the group's success, he didn't always get the credit or money he deserved. He stayed quiet for many years, but later spoke up about how things really happened. His story shows how talent and hard work can sometimes be hidden behind group decisions, and how money can tear even close teams apart. When Chris, Ernie, and Marvin joined the group, they brought in new ideas and sounds. Jasper loved classical music, and Ernie liked rock music. Their music started to sound different, blending soul, rock, and funk. While many fans enjoyed this fresh sound, not everyone in the group was happy. Some of the older members, especially the original brothers, felt that the group was changing too much. They wanted to stick to the sound that made them famous in the first place. This difference in opinion led to many disagreements within the group. Over time, the tension between the old and new ideas grew stronger. It became hard for everyone to work together, and that was one of the reasons the group started to fall apart. Another big problem was about who created certain songs. The song "For the Love of You" became a source of argument. Rudolph said that he wrote the song for his wife. He believed it was a very personal and special song, and he wanted people to know it came from him. But Chris had a different story. He said he wrote the music and lyrics by himself. He felt hurt that someone else was trying to take credit for his work. This disagreement caused a lot of anger and confusion. Years later, another serious issue came up. In 2021, Ronald made a legal move that surprised many people. He went and registered the name, the Isley Brothers, under only his name. After O'Kelly's mysterious death in 1986, things inside the Isley family were never quite the same. There was a quiet tension that hung in the air, the kind people didn't talk about, but definitely felt. Over time, those unspoken issues seemed to bubble beneath the surface, growing stronger with each passing year. And decades later, those cracks finally burst wide open, right in front of the public eye. In 2023, fans were stunned to learn that Rudolph Isley, O'Kelly's younger brother and longtime bandmate, had filed a lawsuit against Ronald Isley.
You know I got it. Hey.
Yes, his own brother, and not over something small either. Rudolph accused Ron of secretly trying to trademark the Isley Brothers' name behind his back, essentially cutting him out of the legacy they built together.
In one of our songs, and we went to court for so many years, and we won that case. And
now keep in mind, Rudolph had walked away from the spotlight way back in the late 80s. He turned his focus to religion, stepped back from music, and kept a relatively low profile. But just because he left the stage didn't mean he left the group's history, or what they built, behind. So when he found out that Ronald had filed for sole ownership of the Isley Brothers' name, he felt completely blindsided. To Rudolph, this wasn't just a legal issue. It was personal. The name the Isley Brothers represented more than just music. It was blood, sweat, tears, and the memory of O'Kelly. It was a name tied to their roots, their pain, and the years of hard work they all put in together. So for Ronald to try and own it by himself felt like a betrayal of everything they'd been through.
My brother Rudolph, he decided to go into his ministry. So basically, it's just me and Ernie now,
According to legal documents obtained by TMZ, Rudolph claimed that Ronald had applied for and received approval for the trademark in his own name, keeping all the profits for himself. Rudolph argued that since their brother O'Kelly's passing in 1986, they had always shared profits equally, with both of them holding ownership in the band. More recently, Rudolph alleged that Ronald made decisions on his own, without consulting him. He claimed Ronald underhandedly obtained sole ownership of the Isley Brothers trademark and had been receiving all the money since 2021. The court documents revealed that Ronald secured exclusive rights to the Isley Brothers trademark for visual and audiovisual recordings, featuring music and animation in August. Rudolph insisted Ronald should have sought his approval for this deal. He also pointed out that Ronald filed the trademark application in his own name in November 2021, despite their previous joint profit-sharing arrangements, such as a multi-million-dollar publishing deal.
We've been doing this for about, how many years?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
More than say 1973 to now, that would be 50.
As a result, Rudolph asked the court to order a financial audit to determine how much Ronald had earned since making these changes. Perhaps Rudolph was hearing footsteps in the dark, prompting him to take such actions against his brother. Rudolph also wanted the court to officially declare that the Isley Brothers trademark is jointly owned by both brothers, and that Ronald should share half of the earnings made from using the band's name since acquiring the trademark. Legal analysts were quick to say this case wasn't really about money. It was about something much deeper. It exposed just how broken things had gotten within the Isley family. The brothers who had once sung harmonies side by side were now sitting across from each other in courtrooms. Even sadder, the case was never fully resolved. Rudolph passed away later that same year in 2023. And just like with O'Kelly's death, it left a trail of unanswered questions and unfinished business behind. Looking back now, some fans believe this lawsuit was the final sign that something had been fractured in the Isley family for a very long time. In 1967, the Isley Brothers released an album called Soul on the Rocks.
Too many tears this time.
At that time, they were signed to Motown Records, which was one of the biggest music labels. But the brothers were not happy. Even though Motown helped many artists become famous, the Isley Brothers felt like they were not in control of their own music. They didn't get to make the songs the way they wanted. Most of the decisions were made by Motown bosses. Also, they were not earning as much money as they believed they deserved. The brothers wrote and performed songs, but they didn't get full credit or fair royalties. After dealing with this for a few years, they finally decided to leave Motown in 1969. This was a big step because they were giving up the safety of a big label to try things on their own. After leaving Motown, the Isley Brothers wanted more freedom. So, in the early 1970s, they started their own record label called T-Neck Records. This way, they could make music the way they liked and keep more of the money from their work. At first, things went well. They had some hit songs and were doing okay. But running a business is not easy. The group faced money problems because of poor planning and mistakes. They also didn't pay all their taxes, which made things worse. On top of that, the brothers started having arguments about who should get credit for writing songs and who should earn more money. These fights caused stress within the group. By 1982, their label, T-Neck Records, was struggling and slowly came to an end. Even though they tried to stay independent, money and family issues made things hard.